You're asleep. It's cold, colder than you've ever been. Your back aches against something lumpy, damp, and moving. You don't know it yet, but that movement isn't your imagination. It has 6 legs. A bell clangs outside. Not a phone alarm. Not a gentle chime. This is iron hitting iron, loud enough to rattle your skull from the inside. You open your eyes. You're not in Kansas anymore. You're not even in the same millennium. The ceiling above you is thatch. The walls are mud and sticks. The smell hits you next. Smoke, sweat, something rotting in the corner. And underneath it all, the unmistakable warm stench of animals sharing your bedroom. Because they do. Share it, I mean. You sit up. Your joints sound like bubble wrap. You're 23 years old. Congratulations. You're middle-aged. This is the year 1325. You have no toilet, no toothpaste, no coffee, no concept of germs, no understanding of why your drinking water looks brown, and absolutely zero idea that the rat-nibbling breadcrumbs 3 feet from your face is carrying something that will wipe out half your continent in 23 years. You think you could survive this? You think you're tough enough? Hollywood sold you castles, chivalry, and maidens in clean dresses. They forgot to mention that maiden hasn't bathed since last harvest, and the castle is a damp stone freezer where the only thing knighted is the mold. So here's the question. Really? Be honest with yourself. Would you last one day? Not a week, not a month. One sunrise to one sunset. Let's find out. If you're ready to survive, or at least watch someone else try, hit like and subscribe. Consider it your medieval survival kit. Just don't expect clean water. The bell doesn't knock. It doesn't politely request your attention. It assaults you, iron on iron, somewhere close enough to shake the fleas loose from your straw mattress and send them scurrying for warmer hiding places. Your eyes open. Your body immediately regrets it. You're face down on something that was advertised as a bed, but functions more like a crime scene. Straw pokes through the linen ticking. Hay, last year's damp, half-rotted, crumbles beneath your hip, and there's movement, not your imagination. Not a dream. Just the usual nightly migration of residents who don't pay rent and don't need keys. The blanket across your body weighs approximately as much as a medium-sized dog and smells like it lost a fight with a wet sheep. Wool, untreated, unwashed, since before the previous occupant stopped occupying it. You pull it tighter anyway. The air is cold enough to hurt. You're 22 years old. Your spine disagrees. You twist to sit up, and your knees answer with a sound like snapping kindling. No one reacts. No one rushes to help. Around you, the dark shapes of other bodies begin to stir. Siblings, parents, that one cousin who arrived for Christmas 3 years ago and just never found the door. 8 people in one room. No walls, no doors. No corners to hide in when you need to cry or scream or simply exist for 5 minutes without someone asking where you put the good bucket. The floor meets your feet. It's dirt. Always dirt. Damp in patches where last night's rain found its way through the thatch. Crusty in others where someone spilled something and the dog licked most of it up and the rest just kind of fossilized. Your toes curl against cold mud. You don't bother looking for shoes. The leather ones are by the hearth, still wet from Tuesday, and the wooden pattens belong to your father, and also they're on the other side of the room, and it's freezing. The smell arrives next. It always does eventually. Smoke, first. The hearth never fully dies, just smoulders sullenly through the night, waiting for someone to feed it. Beneath that, sweat. Days of it. Weeks, maybe. Your own skin hasn't touched water since the last rain barrel thawed, and that was 3 Sundays ago. Then the livestock. The family goat prefers the corner near the door. The chickens are less choosy. And underneath all of it, something older, deeper. The accumulated residue of humans living too close together for too long, breathing each other's air, dreaming each other's dreams, failing to forget each other's smells. You breathe through your mouth. It helps, marginally. The bell again. That's not a suggestion. That's the signal. Work begins whether you're ready or not, whether you've eaten or not, whether the screaming protest in your lower back has been acknowledged or not. You stand. Your spine audibly questions your life choices. You ignore it. Around you, the household assembles itself like a slow, groaning machine. Your mother stokes the embers. Your brother pulls yesterday's bread from the rafters. The baby cries, not from hunger, not from cold, just from the fundamental unfairness of existing in a world where the rooster wakes up before you do. You run your tongue across your teeth. Gritty, fuzzy. You don't think about it. You don't have the luxury of thinking about it. Thinking is for people who have already eaten. Outside, the village coughs itself awake. Doors scrape open. Someone's dog barks at someone else's goat. A woman's voice, sharp, exasperated, cuts through the morning damp. Life, resuming its endless, repetitive, relentless motion. You stand in the doorway. Your feet are cold. Your back hurts. Your stomach, hollow and expectant, reminds you that yesterday's bread is not tomorrow's bread, and today's hunger is very, very present. The sky is grey. It's always grey. Not threatening, not promising, just present, like everything else. You take a breath. You let it out. The day waits for no one. And right now, you're acutely aware that somewhere, deep in your digestive tract, the bucket situation is beginning to assert itself with increasing urgency. So that's next. The pressure in your lower abdomen shifts from suggestion to demand. You've ignored it for as long as dignity allows, but dignity, you're learning, is a luxury, and luxuries don't survive long here. The bucket is behind the house. You know this because everyone knows this. No one talks about it. No one acknowledges it. It simply exists, like death and taxes and your uncle's snoring, a silent participant in the daily ritual of being human in a world without porcelain. You walk, slowly, carefully. The path between your door and the bucket is short but treacherous, mud slicked from last night's rain, punctuated by stones that seem designed specifically to find the arch of your bare foot. You navigate by memory and desperation. The bucket greets you. It's already occupied. Someone, you don't know who, you don't want to know who, has been here before you. The evidence floats. You stare at it. It stares back, indifferent to your judgment. You consider your options. There are three. Hold it until the fields, find a bush, or accept that communal living means communal suffering. You accept. What else can you do? The act itself is undignified. You squat. You concentrate. The wood is cold against your thighs. The smell, previously a distant warning, now declares itself with full authority. You breathe through your mouth. You try not to think about the fact that this bucket will be used again tonight, tomorrow morning, every day, until it rots through or someone steals it, whichever comes first. You finish. You stand. Your legs have fallen asleep. Of course they have. Now comes the question that has haunted humanity since the first caveman looked at his own waste and thought someone else should deal with this. What do you wipe with? In the 21st century, this is solved by a 3-ply subscription and a chrome dispenser. Here, your options are straw, leaves, a scrap of wool so coarse it feels punitive, or, if you're truly desperate and also very brave, your hand and a prayer. You choose the straw. It's not good straw. It's already been used for bedding. You try not to think about where it's been. You fail. The bucket requires emptying. This is not optional. The bucket, left to its own devices, becomes a biohazard. You've seen what happens to families who neglect their bucket responsibilities. The smell doesn't just linger, it settles. It becomes part of the house. You don't want to be that family. You lift. Heavy. Of course it's heavy. Everything here is heavy. You carry it to the front of your hut, check the street, a brief glance, never enough, and toss. Gardez-le. The word feels ridiculous in your mouth. Old French for watch out below. You don't speak Old French. You don't speak any French. But you shout it anyway, because that's what you're supposed to do, and then gravity does the rest. The contents arc beautifully, briefly, then splatter across the muddy thoroughfare. A dog investigates. A child steps around it without looking up. A merchant curses from a second-story window, not because you've hit him, but because he's been hit before and knows it's only a matter of time. The street accepts your offering. It's already brown, already slick, already a simmering stew of contributions from every household on this lane. Your bucket's donation will blend in within minutes. The rain will spread it. The animals will redistribute it. Tomorrow you'll walk through it. You won't notice anymore. This is sanitation in the 14th century. Not a system. Not an infrastructure. Just a collective agreement to point the problem outward and pretend it disappears. You retreat inside. Your hands are cold. They smell faintly of regret. You don't wash them. There's no water to spare, no soap to waste, and anyway, everyone's hands smell like that. It's not a smell. It's just the smell. Part of the background texture of being alive. The morning stretches before you. You haven't eaten yet. Your stomach growls, apparently unaware that you're still processing the bucket situation. And your mouth tastes like something died in it during the night. That's next. Your tongue explores your mouth like it's surveying property it doesn't want to claim. Fuzzy, gritty, coated in something that might have been alive yesterday and is now just residue. You swallow. Your throat judges you silently. Breakfast then. You shuffle toward the hearth where your mother is already stirring. The fire, what's left of it, casts weak orange light across faces still slack with sleep. No one speaks. Speech requires energy, and energy requires food, and food is the very thing you're waiting for, a closed loop. Medieval thermodynamics. The pot hangs from an iron hook, blackened by decades of smoke, older than your oldest living relative, and probably older than the concept of washing it. Inside, something bubbles. It's not thick enough to be stew, not thin enough to be water. It exists in a culinary uncanny valley, neither solid nor liquid, neither fresh nor spoiled, just present. Has been present for days, weeks maybe. New ingredients get added on top of old ones, sinking slowly into the dark warmth, contributing their flavor to the collective. Nothing is ever fully removed. Nothing is ever fully consumed. It just cycles, eternal, like the seasons or your uncle's gambling debts. This is pottage. You know pottage. Pottage is not a recipe. Pottage is a process. Grains, if the harvest was good. Peas, if the garden survived. Root vegetables, turnips mostly, always turnips, diced into rough cubes that float like archaeological artifacts. Sometimes a bone, stripped clean of anything resembling meat, boiled until even its memories dissolve. Sometimes nothing but water and last week's desperation. Your mother dips a wooden bowl into the darkness and hands it to you without eye contact. She's done this 10,000 times. She'll do it 10,000 more. The bowl is warm. You hold it like a prayer. No spoon. Spoons are for children and the infirm. You raise the bowl to your lips and drink. It's not bad exactly. It's not anything exactly. It's warm, which is something. It's wet, which is something else. It coats your tongue with a faint memory of vegetable and a stronger memory of grain. You taste nothing sharp, nothing bright, nothing that would make your eyes widen or your mouth water. This food does not excite, it sustains, barely. Bread arrives. Your brother carries it from the rafters where it hung overnight, suspended from a rope like a hanged man. Medieval pantry logic. Keep it off the floor. Keep it from the rats. The rats are undeterred, but at least they have to work for it. The loaf is dark, dense. You knock on its crust and it knocks back. This bread could double as construction material. It's made from barley and rye. Wheat is for nobles and priests, and people who don't have to look their livestock in the eye after eating better bread than they produce. The miller is creative. Some days you find grit from the millstones. Some days you find twigs. Some days, the bad days, you find flavors that weren't in the original grain contract. You don't slice this bread. Slicing implies cooperation. You chip at it, working the edge with your thumbnail until a piece reluctantly separates. You dip it in the pottage. You wait. The bread softens, grudgingly, like a bitter old man agreeing to one last favor. You chew. Your jaw protests. You chew anyway. Around you, your family performs the same ritual. 8 people, 8 bowls, 1 pot that never empties. The baby gums a crust. Your father eats standing, already dressed for the fields. Your mother hasn't sat down yet. She's moving, always moving, ladling and wiping and stirring, and existing in that perpetual orbit of female labor that keeps households from collapsing into entropy. You finish. The bowl is empty. You're not full. You haven't been full since you can remember. But the hollow feeling in your stomach has retreated from crisis to chronic. You'll function. You always function. Something to drink. Water is a gamble. The stream looks clear, but the stream also flows past the tannery and through the pig enclosure and under the latrine that someone built too close to the bank 3 generations ago, and no one has bothered to relocate. You take your chances with small beer. Weak ale, barely fermented, boiled during brewing. It tastes like wet grass soaked in wooden cask. It tastes like survival. You drink. You breathe. The morning continues its slow, inevitable march toward noon. Your mouth still tastes strange. Gritty, yes, but something else now. Something sharper, metallic. You probe with your tongue and find a crevice that wasn't there last week. A gap, a small one. You press harder. Pain flares, brief and brilliant, then settles into that dull, familiar throb you're learning to recognize. That's new. That's going to be a problem. You don't have time for problems. The fields are waiting. The Lord is waiting. The endless, grinding, repetitive labor of keeping yourself alive is waiting with the patience of something that knows it will outlast you. But the throb doesn't wait. It settles in, makes itself comfortable. You swallow. The ache stays. That's next. You stand. The throb in your jaw rises to meet you, settling somewhere behind your left molars like a tenant who stopped paying rent and started rearranging furniture. You probe with your tongue again. You can't help it, and the pain flashes, bright and intimate, then fades to that dull, insistent ache that's already beginning to feel like part of you. The fields don't care about your tooth. The fields never care. Outside, the village exhales. Doors scrape open. A rooster. Yours, you think, though ownership here is more about proximity than property, announces the obvious with aggressive enthusiasm. The sky is the color of old linen. It might rain. It might not. Either way, you'll be in it. Your feet find the path. Bare. Calloused. You don't notice the cold anymore, or the mud, or the sharp stones that would have made you wince 3 weeks ago. Your body is learning what all medieval bodies eventually learn. That pain is not a signal to stop. Pain is just the background music of being alive. The field waits at the edge of the village, a brown rectangle carved from the forest generations ago by people whose names no one remembers. It belongs to the Lord. Everything belongs to the Lord. The field, the crop, the ox, you. Not in theory, not as metaphor. In practice, in law, in the cold logic of feudalism that nobody bothered to write down because nobody needed to. You know where you stand. You know what you owe. You know what happens when you can't pay. Your tools are where you left them. A wooden hoe, its iron shoe worn thin. A sickle older than your grandfather, its blade curved like a smile you don't trust. You grip the handle. The wood is damp, rough, familiar. You've held this same piece of wood thousands of times. You'll hold it thousands more. Then you'll die, and someone else will hold it, and the field won't notice the difference. You bend. The soil is heavy, wet, reluctant. You dig. The rhythm takes over. Bend, break, pull, toss. Bend, break, pull, toss. Your spine protests. You ignore it. Your tooth pulses in counterpoint. You ignore that too. Ignoring things is a skill, and you've had years of practice. To your left, your brother works his own strip. To your right, a woman from the next croft, Agnes, or maybe Alice, names don't matter as much as hands, bends and rises in the same ancient choreography. No one speaks. Speech is wasted here. The work consumes everything: breath, thought, the small space between one motion and the next. The morning stretches. The rain holds off. Your shadow shortens, then lengthens. You don't measure time in hours. You don't own an hour. Don't know what an hour is except something the church bells argue about. You measure in blisters, in the slow migration of sweat down your spine, in the changing angle of light across the furrows. At midday, you pause. Not because you're never done, but because your body has made its limits clear. You sit on the damp ground. You eat more bread, more cold pottage, carried from the house in a wooden bowl you'll rinse in the stream and use again tonight. The bread is harder than it was this morning. Your tooth protests. You chew on the other side. Around you, the other bodies settle into the same temporary stillness. 30 people, scattered across the Lord's Demesne, performing the same brief ritual of fuel and rest. No one talks about the tooth. No one talks about the blisters, the hunger, the dull ache in shoulders that haven't been truly relaxed since childhood. These are not conversational topics. These are just weather. You don't discuss weather. You endure it. The pause ends. You stand. Your joints make sounds that would alarm a younger version of yourself. That version feels distant now, almost fictional. The person who woke up this morning with clean teeth and warm feet and no understanding of what the body actually costs to operate. You grip the hoe. You bend. The afternoon is longer than the morning. It always is. Time slows here, thickens, becomes a physical substance you have to push through. The soil, once wet, now clings. The weeds, once pliant, now resist. Your arms tremble. Your vision blurs at the edges. You blink and the world refocuses, but only just. You think about the tooth. You try not to. Thinking about pain makes it real, and real pain has consequences you can't afford. But the thought returns, persistent as the ache itself, circling the same questions. Will it get worse? Will it spread? What do you do when the pain becomes the work? No answers come. The field doesn't offer answers. The field offers only the next row, the next weed, the next bend of your spine beneath the grey indifferent sky. The sun eventually remembers it's supposed to set. The light softens, then fails. You don't stop because the work is finished. The work is never finished. You stop because you can no longer distinguish weed from crop, furrow from shadow, your own exhausted hands from the earth they've gripped all day. You stand. Your back screams. Your tooth throbs. Your stomach, empty again, sends its own quiet petition. You walk home. Behind you, the field waits. Patient, hungry, already preparing for tomorrow. You don't look back. You don't need to. It's always there, always waiting, always ready to remind you that rest is borrowed, and your body is only rented, and everything you have will eventually be returned to the soil. Including that tooth. That's next. The tooth has been patient. All day, while you bent and lifted and bled into the soil, it waited. Now, In the quiet of the hut, with the fire dimmed and your family settling into their straw nests, it reminds you that patience is not the same as forgiveness. You lie on your back. The thatch above you is black with centuries of smoke. Somewhere in its depths, something scratches and rustles. Rats maybe, or just the house exhaling. You don't investigate. You don't want to know. Your jaw throbs in time with your heartbeat. A dull, wet pulse, deep in the bone. You press your fingers against your cheek and feel the heat radiating from inside, a small furnace burning beneath the surface. The tooth isn't just hurting now, it's announcing itself. You try to sleep. Sleep doesn't come. You try to ignore it. Ignoring, like the field work, is a skill. But this pain is different from the familiar aches of labor. Those are external, muscles complaining, joints protesting, skin rebelling against friction and cold. This pain is inside. It lives in the same space as your breath, your thoughts, the soft tissue of your own self. There's no distance between you and it. You remember dimly a world where tooth pain meant a phone call, a white room, a masked face peering into your open mouth with gentle instruments, and Novocaine and the quiet hum of machines designed to fix things. You remember being numb, intentionally numb, the blessing of not feeling the invasion of your own body. You remember leaving with a clean bill of dental health and a free toothbrush. That world is very far away now. Here, the tooth is not a problem to be solved. The tooth is a fact of life, like hunger and cold and the Lord's tax collector. You accommodate it, you work around it. You chew on the other side and hope it settles down and pray, actually pray, to a God you've been taught is both merciful and inexplicably invested in your dental decisions, that it doesn't get worse. But it will. You know this the way you know winter follows autumn. The pain doesn't plateau. It escalates. Tomorrow, the heat in your jaw will spread. The gum around the tooth will swell, pink at first, then red, then that angry purple that signals something has gone very wrong inside. Your cheek will puff out, distorting your face into something almost comical. Except no one's laughing, because everyone here has either had this happen or watched it happen to someone else. The day after, the swelling will press against your other teeth, crowding them, shifting them. Your bite will feel wrong, like your mouth no longer fits together properly. You'll stop eating on that side entirely. You'll stop eating much at all, because each swallow sends a fresh wave of pain radiating through your skull. By the end of the week, the infection will enter your blood. You won't know the word sepsis. You'll just know that the heat in your face has spread to your whole body, that you're shivering under a wool blanket that suddenly isn't warm enough, that your thoughts are fragmenting into fever dreams of turnips and church bells in your mother's hands. This is how a tooth kills you. It happens slowly, then quickly. The infection travels from your jaw to your throat, from your throat to your chest. Your breathing becomes labor. Your heartbeat becomes a rumor. Your family gathers around your straw bed, helpless, watching the color drain from your face as your body redirects all its resources to fighting an enemy it cannot name and cannot defeat. Someone fetches the priest. Someone else fetches the barber. The barber arrives with his kit. You've seen it before. A leather roll containing things that gleam dully in the firelight. He is not a doctor. He is not a dentist. He is a man who cuts hair and pulls teeth, and on busy weeks, drains abscesses and lets blood and amputates fingers that have turned black with frostbite. He has no training. He has no license. He has steady hands and a reputation, and absolutely nothing that will numb the pain of what he's about to do. You open your mouth. The room tilts. His tools are not designed for comfort. The pliers are iron, cold, too large for the intimate space of your oral cavity. They grip your tooth like a blacksmith gripping hot metal, not with precision, but with force. You feel the pressure in your entire skull, a creaking, grinding sensation that is somehow worse than the pain itself. Your jaw strains against his leverage. Your fingers grip the edges of your straw mattress, hard enough to draw blood. He pulls. The sound, you will hear this sound for the rest of your life, however long that is wet and sharp and final. The tooth releases. Blood floods your mouth, hot and metallic and shockingly red against the firelight. You scream. Not because you want to, because your body has run out of ways to not scream. The tooth is held up for inspection, rot visible at the root. A small victory for the barber, who nods with professional satisfaction. You lie back, trembling, tasting your own mortality. The pain is still there. Different now. Raw, open, exposed, but still present. The infection hasn't been cured. It's just been given a new exit route. You'll survive this one probably. The fever will break. The swelling will subside. You'll eat on that side again in a few weeks, once the hole in your gum finishes healing. But you'll always know, now, that your body is not a fortress, that the boundaries between inside and outside are thinner than you believed, that a single tooth, neglected and forgotten, can become the door through which death enters. You lie in the dark. Your mouth throbs with the rhythm of your heart. Tomorrow, the fields. You close your eyes. You wait for morning. This response is AI generated, for reference only.